couple of years ago, especially back in college, and when I met my ex-husband and we were talking, I was definitely not, I mean, if anybody asked me, I would say, yeah, I'm a Muslim. My parents are Muslim. I was raised Muslim, but I was not as practicing as I am now. And I think that comes with the territory for me, being born and raised in a Western world. So, I had that identity, but I didn't practice it as much. And, and we were on the same page at that point. He was also someone who was Muslim, but also not practicing as much. And we were on the same page, and we both agreed that at some point later on down the line, we would like to become more involved with our faith. And so that worked for us. And what happened was that I did start to move towards my faith a little bit more, but my partner, on the other hand, decided, or somewhere along the line chose that that wasn't for him, among a myriad of other factors that led to the demise of my marriage. That is something that I think bothered me a lot, because to what Dalia, exactly what you're saying, there were times where we would, during Ramadan especially, this time of year, we would pray, and I would be right there behind him. We would pray. And then other times of the year, I wasn't able to do that because he was still kind of in his Western party days, out with his boys, having a good time, whatever. And, I kind of left that behind, and I was like, yep, I'm done. I'm not the perfect person in the world. None of us are perfect. We all strive to be the best people that we can possibly be. But, I tried to make myself better. And here I was with somebody who chose a different pathway or in life. And so, to your point, I think those conversations are so important to have. First, it's difficult of how do you meet that person and do it in a halal way when dating is not seen as the norm or as acceptable. And then when you do meet somebody, are you on the same page in terms of faith? Are you on the same page in terms of having kids in the future? Are you on the same page in terms of, how seriously do you take your relationship? Is divorce, something that you can foresee as an option if nothing seems to work later on down the road? Like for me, it was one and done, right? And everybody has the intent. Nobody gets married with the intention of ultimately having a divorce. Unfortunately, it's not the way it works sometimes. But I always thought that I would get married once and for all, and that wasn't the case. And it took me a really long time to understand and get comfortable with the fact that there is more to life. There are so many better people out there who are going to potentially be a spouse for me. But you learn so many lessons, and these are some of the things that I wish if I was to write a letter to my younger self, these are the things that I wish I had had conversations with, and had, others to try and talk to me about, or even for me, I wish I was able to see some of those things that are important to me now back then, and they weren't. But so it's certainly, where do you stand in your point of life, in your life right now? And does that correspond to the person that you're talking to? Are they at the same point in your life also? And are you moving towards the same direction? And is that going to be, the same direction that you both want to move towards to when you're together? So there's a lot of different factors here. And then again, it also comes back to culture, right? Culture plays a lot of roles in marriage nowadays, and unfortunately it shouldn't play as much of a role. It definitely should. It's important. It's nice to have, but I think a lot of the times we neglect the fact that Islam is very simple. It's beautiful, and like Dalia and Aziza and Fauzia have well pointed out, the Quran has all of your solutions in there. There is a verse and a chapter in the Quran for every single one of your problems. You just have to open it and read it. And I myself only started doing that recently. Actually going back to that book, and I have found so much peace. And I think a lot of people miss the fact that, we're so caught up in this world of focusing on other people and what's going on and comparing ourselves to them, that we forget that there's a time and a place for everything. And Allah has written everything. Everything has been pre-written for you. But You just have to have patience and belief. But there are things in life that, whatever has already been written for you in your fate and your destiny, with the power of prayer and dua, you can change that. But you have to do that, and you can't, just wait for something to fall into your lap. You have to take the initiative. So that's a huge thing that I think people forget too. We struggle. We say, oh, Islam is so hard. Like we have to pray 5 times a day, and then we have to fast, and we have to find somebody who's on the same page of faith as us. It's really not. If you try to just keep on your priorities, what's important to you, your faith, your life, and also continue with the pace of this world, things will fall into place. You just have to do. For me, I've noticed, do your good deeds, do what you have to do when it comes to your faith, and things will work out. But I think a lot of people just focus on what's in the present, and they forget that it should be super simple. If you don't just put as much focus on it, just don't stress about everything. Just let everything happen as it will.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Aneela. Aziza, Fauzia, did you guys have anything to add on to what Dalia and Aneela said?
I would like to say that sometimes, like there are people that they're so religious. They pray the 5 prayers. They do zakat. They fast. They really like know, let's say no, or like practice Islam, like face and back, but they're not good people. you know they're not good fathers, they're not good husbands, they're not good neighbors, they're not good friends. you know I would not connect like being religious and being a good person together. Like you may be a very good person, but you have no like relation with Islam or like religion. You know what I'm saying? I would say that I can go with a good person, like that he doesn't lie, or like don't eat something that like take something that is not his, treat people fairly, you know and not he may not pray, may not fast. I can work with that, but I cannot work with someone that can, like, he's so religious but he's not a good person. No, I can't go with that.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point. I think it all comes back to, the both parties being on the same page in terms of connection, whether it's religion or, your lifestyle, whatever that is. But you got to do it in a way that you're not investing yourself so heavily in the beginning that later on down the line you're hurting yourself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So
and
you're
and,
right.
and actually, like we like they taught us Deen in a very different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, like Islam, it's not about you practice it. It's about like Islam came basically to like to just behave us, to make us better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, if you are a good person, you can go from there. But if you're a bad person, I mean, where are you gonna go? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So it's basically just to behave us, not to just like make us just practice, and not to look on what we are doing, where are we in this life, or like if we treat our like parents, our siblings, kids, wife, like as a human. Because I know, like I have a lot of examples for people like that. So yeah, it's I want not like go with just being religious, and I mean, I don't know.